Hello and welcome back. This is video number 8. We talked about how to combine names and combine columns in video number 7. We're going to do the total opposite because sometimes you're in a different situation where you need to take one column or one column with different words in it, or maybe two different words in it, like first name, last name combined into one column, and we need to separate that. So I'm going to show you how to do the opposite because it comes in handy as well. So this is going to be part number 2, which is the extract the information that you need, the fast route. Now, there are times, like I said, that you need to take the first name and last name, or last name and first name, and to separate the two and then switch it around. So there's actually a super quick and easy way to separate the first name, last name into two separate columns. Now, this time we will use the text to columns feature that is actually built in to Excel itself. Now, in order to get access to the sheet, we are going to be utilizing sheet number 5, which is going to be the same sheet as last time. So up at the top, what you're going to do is you're going to highlight the name. So in this case, we're going to look at column A, which we can see John Smith to Jane Smith. You're going to highlight that. You're going to go up to the top of the toolbar, click on data, and then you'll click on text to column. Now, when you do that, you're going to see two options. You're going to see a delimited option, and you're going to see a fixed width option. Now, 9 times out of 10, you're going to utilize the delimited option. And what that is you're basically looking at the set of data and you're trying to find a common element. So if you look at all of these, John Smith to Jane Smith, the common element is a space. So what is a common element where we can separate the two into two separate columns? That's what we're looking for as far as the delimiter. So we can look at the space, and anytime we see a space, we can separate the two into two columns. Now, by doing that, that's very effective. And as you can see here, we have selected the space as a delimiter or a commonality, and then we have separated the two. Now, as you can see, it has separated it into two different columns. So first name, last name. Now, the second option is to utilize the fixed width element. Now, like I said, 9 out of 10 times you're going to use the delimiter. Rarely do you ever use the fixed width. Now, what fixed width does is it just chops it wherever you can. So here's what it looks like. So you're basically going to take the arrow and you're going to point it, and it's going to chop it right smack dab half off. Now, you can't do that if you have words that are to the left, to the right, and so forth. Now, the nice thing about this is you can use it. Let's say, for example, that you want to cut off a certain amount of characters. So for example, extract the last 4 digits of a credit card number. Now, in those cases, you're definitely going to use this all the time. So, but now if you're utilizing a column that has the same exact amount of characters, then the majority of time when you're separating it, it's going to be the fixed width. So I'm going to show it to you in just a second how these two work. So if you want to go to sheet number 5, we are going to focus on the separating names. So like I said, over here, you highlight it, then you go over here and you go to data, you go to text to columns, and then as you can see here, we have the delimited version and the fixed width version. So the delimiter, if we select that, we click on next, we find that commonality, so it's going to be a space. Now, obviously if there's a comma, then we can select comma, or if there's a word that there's a similarity, then you can enter the word or a letter. So if everybody has maybe an S at the end of their first name, then you can actually cut that off as well and use that as a commonality. So if we click on next and we click finish and we click on OK, this is what happens. So it moves it to 2 columns. We've separated the names from 1 column to 2 columns. Now let's go back over to here And let's utilize under data and text to columns, let's do fixed width. If we select fixed width, click on next, and then with the arrow, as you can see, it cuts it straight down the middle. So if we click next, finish, okay, you can see that it has cut it straight down. Now, doing it with first name, last name, that's not really the best route to go. But if I were to do something like I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we know in this case that we have the exact same amount of characters. So good for credit card numbers, good for maybe telephone numbers or even social security numbers where the amount of characters are the exact same. So if we do that and we click on text to columns, we use fixed width. And let's say, for example, that we just want the first two numbers. So we do that, click next. And there we go. So it's separated the first two numbers and the last numbers. So this is actually very, very convenient. And I've used this and I can see how we've used this in many, many cases. So not just names, credit card numbers, finances, accounting numbers, all sorts of different ways that you can use this in a real world situation. So with that said, we'll see you on the next video.